Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to be out on the water, rocking back and forth on those waves in a boat. We're going to be using some rope and we're going to be trying to catch some crabs because we're trying to bring them back to dock and complete some objectives. Today we're talking about crabs. This is a 3 to 5 player game. It takes between 20 and 35 minutes to play. Now today we're going to be doing a rules school. So I'm going to give you a 1-minute quick overview of how the game works. And then I'm going to teach you how to set up the game and play it without even having to look at the rule book. Well, let's get started. Crabs is a 3 to 5 player game that takes 20 to 35 minutes to play. And during this game, you'll be trying to collect and score crabs and complete objectives by turning in certain numbers of crabs to be able to get these objective points. You'll be gathering these crabs over the course of the game by simply either just taking a certain amount of crabs or trading crabs for either the number of cards or the summation of the actual numbers that you're leaving. You'll also be upgrading your equipment by discarding a certain amount of cards to get to the next level, which will give you essentially more points at the end of the game and better abilities to be able to bind up more crabs. And you'll be using rope as some of your cards and binding up a summation of crabs from your hand and actually leaving yourself a certain amount of scoring cards depending on the range, and those are the ones that allow you to get those objective cards for points later. To set up, each player picks a crab of their favorite color and they take along a player aid of that same color. Any colors not used will be removed and placed back in the box. You will then shuffle this crab deck, which has a rope on one side and crabs on the other side. Once that deck is shuffled, you will pass 6 cards to each player face down. You will then, using that deck, place 10 cards face up in the middle of the table and then place the rest of those cards in that deck face down next to it. You'll also find the objective deck, you'll shuffle that together, and you will place 4 of those objective cards face up. You'll then find the 4 gear cards. They have a +3, +5, +7, and +10. It's the same on both sides of the card. You'll put them in order just like this from lowest to highest, and you'll place all the crabs that are playing in this game just to the left of the first card. The person who has most recently eaten crabs will be the first player. Now how the flow of the game works is when it's your turn, you can take one action. Then you might be able to trade in cards to get some objectives, and then you're always discarding down to 8 cards. But let's go over what some of these actions are. The first thing you can possibly take is catch crabs. Now this, you take a total of 2 crab cards from the pile or from the pool. So let's say I might want to take this one, and let's say I don't want any of these, I can take this one here. That would be my entire action. And then it would go to the next player's turn, assuming that I didn't need to discard and I wasn't going to get any of these that I'll talk about later. And just an extra rule to keep in mind is that if there are no crabs in the crab pool face up, when you catch crabs, you can only take them from the top of the deck. The next possible action you could take is raise crabs. Now doing so, you can place as many crabs as you want into the pool. So I'm going to place 1, 2, 3, and I get to take any 3 cards. Let's say I take these 2 and this one. So I put down 3 and I took 3. You can do as many as you want, but you're always taking back the same amount that you put down. The next possible action you can take is called trade crabs. And in this, we add the value of all the cards that I put down, as many or as little as I want. 5 plus 4 plus 3 is 12. So I need to take back as many or as little cards as I want, but as long as it adds to 12. So maybe I take a 5, this would be 7, this would be 9, this would be 11, and this would be 12. As long as the numbers that I take add up to the numbers that I put down, that's trading crabs. Another option is upgrade gear. And in this case, you would discard a certain amount of cards to the crab pool. Let's say I got rid of this card, I put it face up into that crab pool where all the other cards are, and I can move my crab up because I only need to discard 1. If I was already here, next turn I could discard another 1 and move up. If I was here on a separate turn, I could discard 2 cards and move up to here, or 3 cards to move up to here if I started my turn there. So you're moving up this gear. I'll tell you what these do in just a moment because these have to do with scoring. And once again, when you do upgrade your gear, any cards discarded go face up into the crab pool. Now the next action you can take is called bind crabs. And what you'll do is you'll take one of the cards in your hand and you'll flip it face down. Notice that it has a rope on there because you're going to be tying them together by the rope. And I have a 1, a 2, and a 2. Now remember, on the upgrade, I actually had my crab on the +3. So we would take this +3, where my crab is, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We look at my player aid, and with a value of 8, I need to either keep a 1 vertical or turn one of the cards to show a 1 triangle. So if you look at some of the cards here, I could turn this sideways and this could be a 1 triangle just like that. Or I could just keep this 1 vertical. That's going to be my scoring card, so I would leave that like that, or I could have left this like this because those are the 2 cards I could keep. Then the ones that I don't keep all get flipped face up and put back into the crab pool. Also, when you're binding crabs and you're trying to get these scorecards, let's say I had 25 plus and I need to keep a 5 for a scorecard. I must keep a 5. If I cannot, you basically would not be able to play those cards. You also cannot substitute multiple cards that add up to that number. So if I had 25 plus, I couldn't use a 2 and a 3 to get to this 5. Actually, it would just have to be exactly a 5, or you cannot play that combination of cards. So again, here they go, back into the pool with the rest of the crabs that other people can be able to take and manipulate. Now the upgrades cards never move. I just moved it there to show you that I had it, but they never move. Now let's say later in the game, after many more turns, this is what my tableau looks like in front of me. Now, relax crabs is an action you can take for your turn, and you can take up to 3 crabs that are horizontal like this and flip them up to vertical scoring cards. Now, if you remember, what you do is you take an action, and then after your action, you can possibly complete an objective card. So at this point, I have 3 scoring cards of 2s, which you just saw me turn vertical. This one needs 3 2s. So what I can do is discard these to the crab pile here, face up. All 3 cards will be in this pile. And then I get to take this and put it right in front of me. This is going to show me that I now have 10 points. I'll put it right in front of me, and then this will come out. And at this point, if I have more than 8 cards, I need to discard these down into the crab pool. Otherwise, it'd be the next player's turn. And here's just a reminder that when you are trading in cards to get these objective cards, they have to be your score cards and vertically placed scorecards. These cannot be cards that are just in your hand, and they cannot be horizontal scorecards. If at any point in time a player has 25 or more victory points, this will be the last round, meaning everyone will have an equal amount of turns, so it will end with the last player of the round, which is the one just to the right of the start player. So at the end of the game, you're going to comp your points. First is you'll get all the points from all of the objective cards you got. Then, as far as your crab got on the upgrades, each star is worth 1 point. So this card would give me 2 points. Now remember, this card doesn't really go in front of anybody. It stays where it's at, but this is just to show you how you score these points. Any scoring cards that you didn't yet use for objectives, score as face value. Now, if you have a star there, it's an additional point. So this is not 4 points, it's actually 5 points because of the star. Any horizontal cards are worth the triangle value, 4 here. Also, you get the values from the objectives and the stars, and you add all those up, and whoever has the most points is the winner. And if there's a tie, then the players share the victory. Well, I hope this helped you dive right into the game and get to the fun quickly without having to thumb through and read the rulebook. Now, if you have any further questions about the rules, go ahead and place them as comments in this video, and we'll get to them as soon as we can.